In this exercise, we are asked to do some calculations about baseball salaries. There are plenty of complaints, and I'm probably one of those people too, where I feel less sorry for athletes who are earning millions of dollars, where we're struggling to even, in some cases, to even have jobs in this county. In any event, there are 4 parts to this exercise. In the 2009 season, you see the problem right in front of you here. In the 2009 season, Kevin Garnett of the Boston Celtics earned $24,750,000 to play 80 games, each lasting 48 minutes. And the first question that's asked here, which should be relatively simple, how much did he earn per game? So I've got how much, the word per, and the word game. Well, how much in our country we talk about is dollars. So we know that he earned $24,750,000. Now I'm going to write it a little differently just to give you a visual here. $24,750,000, and I'm going to write the word dollars here. Now we want our answer to be dollars per, and remember every time I said the word per, you think of that little line right there. So dollars per game translates like that, dollars per game, dollars divided by game. Well, this one's pretty easy because there are 80 games. So if I put 80 games under that dollar figure, I now have dollars per game. So it's just a matter of dividing 80 into 24,750,000. Because we have these wonderful calculators, we can do that very easily. So I would do the math, and I would get 309,375. I'm not going to sit and do the calculation because you can punch that in by yourself. Now, I wrote it dollars per game. Even though I've got the dollar symbol there, it looks a bit too much. It's because I want you to see the visual of what this per word, P-E-R, means in the math language. So Kevin Garnett earned $309,375 per game. So if he got beaten up a little bit, hey, he's got the money to pay for it. So I don't feel sorry. Great athlete, by the way. All right, we're going now to part B. Assuming that he played every minute of every game, how much did he earn per minute? Again, here are the key words. How much per minute? How much per minute? So for that answer, I want my answer to end up with dollars on top and minutes on the bottom. All right, we know how much he earned per minute. Now, the natural tendency is going to be to want to put the 24,750,000 down there. But that's not for one game. That's for all 80 games. We want to take the answer, so I'm erasing this one. We want to take the answer that we got right here and move it down here, because that's how much he got for one game. So we take $309,375. And how many minutes did he play? 48 minutes. I'm putting that in yellow up here at the top. So he did 48 minutes. I want dollars per minute. So if I put 48 minutes at the bottom, with the line between the dollars and the minutes, I've got the dollars per minute straightened out right there. So I just divide $309,375 by 48 minutes. And if you do the math on that, you get $6,445.31. Just round off to the nearest dollars and cents since we're talking about money. Now, that's if he played all 48 minutes. The difference in this exercise and part C, it looks a little confusing because a lot of people just get very nervous about math. But if I look at part C, which I'll put in a greener color, it said assume that he played 2/3 of every game. 2/3 of every game. And how many minutes was a game? A game is 48 minutes. So I can say 2/3 times 48, because he didn't play all 48 minutes of every game. He played 2/3 of it. And that's math 60. If you do the math right there, you can either do the canceling or whatever you want to do, and you end up with the number 32 right there. So 32 minutes. If he played 2/3 of every game and sat on the bench the rest of the time, he played 32 minutes. So the only difference there in what you would get, how much did he earn per minute, how much per minute, and there's your per again. I'd put the dollar amount for one game, $309,375. $375 and divide that by 32 minutes. Remember, this is dollars and this is minutes. And if you do the math there, that will give you how many dollars per minute he had if he sat on the bench and only played 2/3 of the game. All right, hopefully that's helping out so far. Now, D may be a little more confusing, possibly. Suppose that over the course of the year, he practiced or trained 40 hours for every game, including the training time, what would be his hourly salary. Okay, including his training time. So D gets a little more quirky. It's not hard, but you have to think through it. Again, as I said before, math is a system of logical thinking. So here's what's happening right here. What he's doing, he's going, if he trains 40 hours for every game, they don't play every day, I would have 40 hours, this is part D, I would have 40 hours per, or for each game. And how many games did he play? At the very beginning of the whole problem, he played 80 games, right there. If he trained 40 hours for each game, then I've got to multiply this again times 80 games. The word games will strike out, and that gives me, if I do the math right there, that gives me 3,200 hours. And you think, well, I've not gotten the answer yet. No, I haven't. This is a start. All right? That's his training that he did right there for training. Okay? Now, if he played, as we said earlier, we said he played 48 minutes per game. Let's go back. We've got to decide what's happening here. If he played 48 minutes in a game, then I write that down. 48 minutes per game. He played 80 games. But when I do this, that's only going to give me minutes right here. So what I need to do is I need to put this in terms of hours so it will match the hours that we had for the training. So I'm going to multiply this again by how many minutes there are in an hour. Now, what do I have to do? I've got to have the minutes on the bottom of the fraction so it cancels out. So what I've got to do is decide, do I put 1 hour over 60 minutes or 60 minutes over 1 hour? I'm going to put the 60 minutes on the bottom because if I do that, the minutes will strike out. 1 hour on top. 1 hour for 60 minutes. So what this will do is it will give me the games canceled out, the word minutes canceled out, and it will give me how many hours of game playing he did. So I've got 48 times 80 times 1 on top and 60 on the bottom. If I do the math right there, I'm going to get, believe it or not, with all that, I'm going to get 64 hours. So guess what? We played the game. So what happened here is he has actually participated for this many hours. 3,200 hours in training, 64 hours in playing the games. All the games, believe it or not. So if I add those two numbers together, and I'm just going to do that to make it easier for you right here, he actually had 3,264 hours that he actually played or trained. All right, the question, to go back to that, the question was, what was his hourly salary? His hourly salary. Got the hours in there. All right, we know how much he made in the whole career. In the whole career, way back at the beginning, he made $24,750,000. So if I want to find out how much he made per hour that way, I would just do the division there, and that would give me that answer. I'll let you do the work. Hopefully this helped you with this problem. And again, as always, if the video is not good enough, rewind it, constantly play it back as you need to, take it slowly. And if the video itself is just not doing it, then again, I recommend tutoring, a peer friend to help you, or ask your instructor.